Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here, once again to do another One Piece chapter review, chapter 1091, Sentamaru. Before that, I'm going to begin my thoughts on the cover spread. Pretty much, it's the majority of the Straw Hats minus Robin and Frankie. It's the eating pizza being cooked together by Sanji and Jinbei, which is an interesting combination because there seems to be a one-sided hatred for Sanji towards Jinbei, who seems to be getting all the attention from the ladies and the ship, and also the higher bounty thing. But I think I think special guest of a a few mices really, and a few flamingos. Those mices look like that I think Chew, that one that was with that geisha girl. But anyway, you see Brock having a cup of tea with Chopper, who's just eating pizza like you normally would. You see in the main table you have Luffy just gulping it up, and some flamingos also trying to eat the pizza. Usopp, Zoro, and Nami. It's even Nami's getting a bit messy with all the eating of the pizza. It's a very big one. Jimbo's probably just looking at Nami. I think Sanji's looking at Nami, being, hoping that I think they like it, particularly Nami. And Jimbo, I think, is just maybe blushing about how well he's doing with the pizza, maybe. But yeah, as for Frankie and Robin's disappearance, I've seen some people joke about, they went to go find some alone time. But who knows? But yeah. Either way, it's a nice cover of the straw hat eating pizza. Oh, and there's like a mouse that's got a pizza cutter trying to walk away. I think I was originally going to try and cut the pizza, but the straw hats are just gobbling up. Well, granted, there's some bits of it that seem sliced, but yeah. Anyway, on to the actual chapter. It's talking about we begin with with the Siege of Egghead, or the incident of Egghead's battle beginning, where you see Marines and their ships trying to fire on the Pephistas Mark III, as they are trying to prevent them from shooting their lasers. But the sea beasts then start rampaging and attacking the whole place. There's quite a few interesting designs here, particularly one with a mouse with a drill, but you again end up getting the Vice Admiral with lots of chins using a move called Knuckle Stream, in which he seems to have a punch glove similar to the former Admiral Sepher or C. And then another Pacifista is doing the lasers, as I think you're also getting laser fire at them, but you're mostly seeing the sea beasts damage the ships. But you see Vice Admiral, I believe, Goatee, the new goth Vice Admiral that everyone likes, doing kicks similar to, I think, Katakuri, as I think people have commented, as she's able to kick the face of one of the Pacifistas. As the Marines are commenting about how a Vice Admiral has managed to how the Vice Admirals have made it to landfall, as I think you see a few others jumping on, fighting the Pacifistas. So yeah, as we then cut to the Labo phase, as Usopp's watching about how they're fighting at the coasts and apparently in the Navy up against those robo sea beasts. With Vegapunk talking about how Sentamaru is leading the Pacifistas, and that the island's defenses are utterly impenetrable. And also here we get the sort of a reminder of the Pacifista hierarchy, the five elders, then followed at the top, then followed by Vegapunk and all his satellites, then Sentamaru below them, he's got 50 Mark III Pacifistas, and those who have the 40 chip. So so I think this is a sort of warning that the Pacifistas might not remain in Sentamaru's control for very longer, depending on if he gets knocked out by someone with an authority chip, or if, say, let's see, one of the elders, Saint Saturn, comes into the battlefield and tells the Pacifistas to listen to him. But Usopp realizes that from what but from what has been described, it seems to be the former, as Usopp is talking about. So this is why Kizaru has shown up to take on Sentomaru, with Nami commenting about they really did send an admiral like Stussy says, and they're all But yeah, you got pretty much the Straw Hats like Brock talking about how reminded of the unpleasant memories of let's see, of Kizaru back at Shadow Obi Archipelago. As but yeah, with Vegapunk getting worried about Sentomaru, saying apologizing to him, thinking it's cruel to make him go up against Kizaru, blaming for running away. As we cut to the next panel where Kizaru is kicking Sentomaru with his laser kicks, if you will, as he's asking Sentomaru to surrender. Surrender, as he's saying he knows what he wants to, using a move called the Yaskon Sacred Jewel, which I think is a standard like his laser shooting attack. With Sentomaru running, telling him that he made a promise to Straw Hat to make sure that Vegapunk that he made a promise to Straw Hat, with then trying to grab his with Sentomaru then trying to grab his axe. Let's see, Kizaru saying, when did he start siding with pirates? But him saying that he'll take the side of anyone who creates an escape route for the man who saved his life. In other words, Vegapunk. As Sentomaru does a swing to the axe, and Kizaru dodges with his by splitting himself in half deliberately. As then we then cut to a flashback where they go back to when Kizaru and Vegapunk were assigned to take out some bears, but they see a young Sentomaru has already done it. Confused who it is, as you see a bunch of bears knocked out and a few ones from behind. One I think has a bump on their head. Another one I think is just a small child. But Sentomaru talks about how how he hates the villagers to them, and they think they're weak. So isn't going back there, with Kizaru realizing that he's been kicked out. But he's talking about how he's tough, but he won't really get hungry, but he wants a job. With Vegapunk asking what he wants to do with that money. And Sentomaru sort of contradicts his statement, kind of, let's see, drooling, saying onigiri, which I assume is some sort of Japanese delicacy, probably a sweet, with Kizaru finding this amusing. I think I might have heard origami before, but I just can't recall where. And then we cut to the present just a little bit, where Kizaru says, "You were so adorable back then," and then going back to the flashback of then Vegapunk hiring Sentomaru to be his bodyguard, which he accepts. And then you see young Sentomaru asking, saying old man or uncle, I think, depending on which translation you go to, asking how he's supposed to attack Vegapunk, and asking him to either tell him or teach him, with Kizaru saying, it going like, "Excuse me, I am still pretty young." With and coming back to the present once again, with Kizaru saying, "I taught how he taught Sentomaru everything he could," and then uses another as Sentomaru uses a move called Sumo Strike, seemingly able to hit Kizaru, pushing him back to the chin thing, like you'd see in some like martial arts moves. With him commenting that his defense is as tough as yours, or tougher, I think, depending on the translation. With then Kizaru using a laser, knocking out Sentomaru, and seemingly ending the fight. With him then using the authority chip that he has, giving orders to the Paphistas via radio control, saying that now that your control tower is unconscious, telling them that there's now a new change of plans for them. Ordering them to help the naval battleships sink the Sea Beast weapons, as the Sea Beasts are now being attacked by the Paphistas, shooting them down, as you see one of them shooting down a dog, with Saturn talking about how it's a shame that the Sea Beasts are being taken out, But if they had to keep either the sea beasts or the Pathistas, the Pathistas are the better choice. With him asking for a report on the damages from what happened for the last few minutes. As hold on. As we cut to Usopp commenting about how Santamaru's down, and you start to see Vegapunk crying a bit. As let's see, the Vegapunks get to work saying how they're going to need to take down the shield to both Edison and Atlas, telling them how they can't let and tomorrow's sacrifice go to waste, but you're going like, forget, I'm a Vegapunk too, mocking them about her own skills. With let's see, Vegapunk talking about how Kizaru will let light itself will be able to pass through the light himself, which, as we see in the next page, shocks Usopp, realizing that means that Santamaru, that means that Kizaru would probably be able to come in here. Thinking about how he wiped the floor of them from last year, and then let's see, Kizaru saying the Straw Hat crew, thinking how about that, thinking, depending on the translation, how that's nostalgic, or how he had some times together with them. Let's see, thinking of probably the Shadow Archipelago and perhaps Marineford with Luffy and Jinbei. But anyway, as he lights to fly up into like the laser grid, leaving Santamaru behind. With cutting to like Luffy's group as they need to hurry down to get see the ship and the robot to the barrier, as we see the Vega Force 1 carrying the Thousand Sunny, taking it back with like Luffy eating, I think, some pizza, some meat, and Bonnie eating a chicken drumstick or some sort of bird drumstick. With an emergency alarm going on, with Frankie asking what's about, and she's wondering why is that the case. She says no one will be able to get in. By the way, I do like the little the fact that she's wearing her goggles and the helmet in this bit. Let's see, as Kizaru is saying, let's see, he's entered Punk Records through the laser thing, thinking about how his checklist to keep safe is the power plant, Punk Records, and York, who's apparently actually a friend, as it turns out. As I think, granted, this is a bit of a confusing bit of the translation, as I think this bit here, from the way I think, from what I understand in like some of the early translations, and apparently more accurate, is about how he wished he could have added friends to that list. But here I think it seems here in this Fizz translation, it's implying that, let's see, York is a friend, but I think it's maybe supposed to say, I think he meant is that York is an ally. But anyway, as we get into unconscious of Vegapunk, Santamaru, a little bit, and then a close-up of Kizaru's face with a sort of menacing eye line things, as he says, the checklist needs to be eliminated. The checklist that needs to be eliminated is Dr. Vegapunk, with them commenting, with Vegapunk commenting that he's inside the dome, with probably some of the Straw Hats screaming, either Nami or Usopp, and with like Usopp panicking because Luffy's group is out in the front, Brock wondering this can't be good. Let's see, and Vegapunk talking about how the ship can't really be, the barriers can't go down until the ship's been moved to place. But just as this moment, Stussy realizes that Rob Luchi is making his move, as you see his pigeon. I've forgotten what's the pigeon's name again? CP9. Hataru, I think? Let's see, hold on, let me just, let's see, Hatatori. So, flying off, but Rob Luchi's going for Vegapunk, and Stussy ends up shielding him as he fingers her into the stomach, which I know sounds a bit dirty, but that's just the best way to describe it. As you see blood coming out of her mouth, blood on Rob Luchi's finger, everyone being shocked that Vegapunk and the others being shocked that Stussy's been taken out. Sanji then takes Nami's bubble gun, shoots it at Kaku, then being surprised by what's going on. With Sanji commenting, looks like, Kaku's been left out of the dark or behind, depending on the translation, and Zoro brings out two of his swords to strike at Rob Luchi, and having his either his six styles, I think, or hockey to block that attack and defense. And so commenting to him, so you've got backup and you thought you could make a move now. But with him, Rob Luchi saying between Kizaru and him, they're all dead. Rizzo saying that you don't know us very well or you're still underestimating us, depending on the translation. And then we see Kizaru going like, realizing that the Thousand Sunny's on the sees the Vega Force 1 and the Thousand Sunny, realizing this is why he hadn't seen their ship. With, I think, Frankie, or at least maybe one of the, I don't know who's asking, might have been, Lilith, Frankie, or Bonnie asking what they should do, Luffy, since there's an ambush here. But let's see, Kizaru's noticed that Luffy is off the Vega Force 1, telling him how it's been a very long time, Straw Hat, as Luffy goes straight in and kicks him in the side, as Kizaru blocks with his arms. Talking about, as Kizaru talks about how Luffy still seems to have very bad manners, and Luffy's just smiling, saying, compared to 2 years ago, we're 100 times stronger, Kizaru, as their long-awaited rematch for this arc has begun. Now, onto my thoughts. I really do like how we got a little bit of the battle between the Marines and the Sea Beasts first in the chapter. We're getting to see a little bit of the Paphistas shooting the ships, or the Sea Beasts taking out some of them. They've at least taken out a couple of ships. I mean, we see at least one being mauled by a Sea Beast lion, another being plowed by a Sea Beast bull, and I think this one with a mouse one with a sort of a mechanical drill. I think he's about to try and hit another one, but yeah, so there's at least a few ships have been taken out from the Marines. But I do like how we got a little bit of the vice, at least two of the vice admirals. I think the ones that have gotten the people's most attention is the one with the most chins. We still don't know his name, but he's got an attack called Steam Knuckle, and like I mentioned earlier, he seems to have the design from Admiral Sephra had for the mechanical arm thing. So I suppose even though that film is non-canon, it does seem some bits of that canon is at least being adjusted to this to the manga with this knuckle thing. So with that knuckle thing as doubt, with that the Steam knuckle thing, I have no doubt in my mind that if the Straw Hats end up fighting the Vice Admirals here, this is going to be Frankie's opponent for the whole cyborg stuff. So, that's pretty cool. Let's see. And we're learning that Vice Admiral, I believe, Goatee, or let me just, you know what? I'm going to go Vice Admirals. I just want to make sure I've said the name right. Give me a sec. Vice Admiral. I do like how that just Vice Admiral Gogusachi immediately comes to One Piece, which seems to be more implied that it's just made up by Oda for this, but I think it works. All right, not Goatee, Vice Admiral Doll. My apologies there, silly me. But we learn that she's got some long legs. I think some people have wondered she's from the long leg tribe, or she just has like legs like Katakuri. But either way, she's a strong kicker, and took it out, and she's able to at least take out one of the Paphistas Mark III. So it shows she's no joke. If I had to guess, I'd say if she ends up fighting one of the Straw Hats, my money is on her, which I might have said in the previous stream, is that she's going to be the one that she's going to end up fighting Nico Robin, which, Robin's arms versus Goatee's legs. let's see. So yeah, that's how I could see it going. But yeah, but it is like so. Yeah, I do like how you see the Straw Hats monitoring the battle in the sort of command situation and learning all the details of what's going on. And I do like how Vegapunk and I do like how the manga reminds us of the hierarchy thing of like the Pathistas. So this just gets the Straw Hats to realize that Kizaru is taking out Sentomaru so that they can gain control of those with the authority chips can gain control of the Pathistas since Sentomaru is a higher authority. And they're not just quite ready to have St. J. Garcia enter the fight just yet, it seems. Which would have been the biggest surprise if he did end up doing so. But yeah. But I do like how the Straw Hats are like just commenting on the fact that Kizaru is here. So particularly like Nami and Brock as Nami's like they really did send out someone to come here. I do like how Nami's like the one to realize like wow, they really are sending the big guns here. But I do like how Brock says brings up the whole Kizaru here, let's see, this does bring back memories. As for the Straw Hats, this has been quite the trip down memory lane. Where not only Rob Luchi and Kaku from CP9, now CP0, and now Kizaru, the admiral that caused their biggest defeat in history. Or at least partially to blame. Well, let's see, granted, it was Kuma that sent them all flying, but he ended up, of course, sending them all flying in the first place because, well, you know, he had to save them from Kizaru. I do like how Vegapunk feels guilt for having Sentomaru face Kizaru in this, since he knows that he probably doesn't stand a chance, but also because of their past history and all that stuff, and blame for running. But yeah, but I do like how the fight going between Kizaru and Sentomaru, and Sentomaru trying his best to block, but also even run away from some of the attacks, and even Kizaru, even though Kizaru knows he's stronger than Sentomaru, still has to take the fight a bit seriously as he has to dodge one of Sentomaru's attacks with the axe, probably because he realized it's probably imbued with hockey, since his let's see, hold on, let me just get the hockey, Boshashuku hockey. And since it's like Sentomaru's got a strong defense, he probably also has a very strong offense, even if his defense is stronger. So it's like I like how he has to use his Logia powers to split himself in half to do it, and even Sentomaru, before being defeated, managed to land a hit on him in the end. So yeah, well, and a few times that you see Kizaru actually damaged. So yeah, and I do like how so let's see, Kizaru just wants Sentomaru to surrender, but Sentomaru's loyalty to Vegapunk is so strong that he's even willing to team up with Straw Hat Luffy, an enemy they once fought together. But now the sort of tables have turned, and in some ways, even though it's ironic, since Luffy at one point wanted to surpass Sentomaru, Sentomaru now has to rely on him to get Vegapunk to safety, and Luffy's already taken out someone that already knocked Sentomaru out earlier, so yeah, and he's going to probably do the same here with Kizaru later, but yeah. But I think the interesting thing is the fact that what surprised me is that I've actually got the flashback that Oda brought about Sentomaru in the SBS, because lately, when Aldo's been talking about flashbacks and backstories and SBSs, it just normally leaves them there and doesn't actually bring them up in the manga like Kids and the Kids' backstory and Zoro's family tree. He's not doing those in the manga, but he's doing them in the SBS covers. But here, he's doing them. But here's actually bringing the Sentomaru one, and I think it sort of brings the sort of the emotions to the fight as it shows the kind of history, particularly Kizaru's fondness about how he thought Sentomaru was kind of a cute little kid back then, but now he has to. Harry taught him everything he did, but now has to take him out as he does with the lays at the end. But yeah, I do like to seeing the bear one where him and Vegapunk were tasked to take out the bears, and and see Sentinel. So you go like, I took him out. The villagers are weak. I don't need food, but I want to get a job so I can buy some onigiri. That's what that was amusing. I do like how just even back then, Sentinel called him old man or uncle, if you will. Even though, and Kizaru complained about how young he was. So yeah, he probably did. So Sentinel probably did. Now I think in terms of the Japanese dialect, it's supposed to be some sort of like boss title. But I wouldn't be surprised that you could have seen Kizaru as some sort of family or some sort of like uncle like figure back then. But who knows? But yeah, Sentinel is down from the fight. I'm not sure if he is dead. But who knows? But at the very least, he's knocked out. So he's either dead or he's going to be knocked out and probably arrested by the Marines later. But yeah. But I do really like how Vegapunk, Kizaru's character here is like, even though he's like he's a clog in the machine, he really doesn't want to kill. He really doesn't want to fight or kill his friends, which of course are Vegapunk and Sentinel. And I think it adds a lot of layers to his characters. Like, he's a Marine that follows orders, but it doesn't mean he personally agrees with them. Showing him a bit more, I guess you could say, more moral justice than it's led to believe. I mean, I think some would think that he's more on the absolute justice thing, since he went to like some of the calls of taking out taking out to go to Shaba Odi to take out the Straw Hats after they struck a celestial dragon, but clearly that he's not an obedient blind dog like say Vice Admiral Greenbull, who would do whatever the government orders him. But Kizaru, at least, while he may obey the orders, he will express he does not agree with them or like them all the time. But I think it adds a bit more to his character. But yeah, and just when I think and just when the situation couldn't get better for like the Straw Hats and Vegapunk's side, as a result of Sentinel being, of course, knocked out, and I think this raises the stakes a bit as the Mark IIIs end up switching sides, which I wasn't. Which, to be fair, I shouldn't really be surprised, but because they are just generally like the big grunt soldiers, if you will, sort of mini bosses, if you will, depending on like the strength of the pirates are fighting. Now, granted, the Straw Hats should be capable of taking them out, but I think even they will have struggle with the Pathistas. But yeah, but as a result of Sentinel taking out the CB, they've lost all of the Pathistas, or at least the ones that have not been taken out by the Vice Admirals, and they in turn have wiping out all the Sea Beasts. So they pretty much, the Straw Hats and the Vegapunk forces have lost all their ground forces, which does make me wonder if we are going to get the Straw Hat Grand Fleet coming in. I'm still wondering what that incident's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised at this point, depending on how much longer Oda's going to pace it, that they're not going to show up. I figured they were going to show up this arc, but I guess Oda is saving them for the big pirate battle royale, but who knows. But I'm hoping to see at least the new giant warrior pirates on Elbaf, since, well, they are like the Straw Hats allies there, so who knows. We'll just have to wait and see, but yeah. No, I do like how Saturn is just like, even as is just like an ally in the battles. Like, I do like how he says it's regrettable that the sea beasts, who are a military asset, are lost and could be helpful taking down, very helpful in taking down pirates on the ships. Admits that the Pathista's Mark III forces are much more valuable to choose out of the two resources that they had to keep if they had to sacrifice one. And no doubt that we'll probably see them later, probably in the final battle against the world government, when it does actually happen. So yeah, so I think most of the Mark IIIs will still be around. Though granted, I think York could probably create more for the world government. So we'll have to wait and see there. But yeah, I do like Vegapunk's just being upset that Sentamo's taken down, but they're determined to try and buy all the time they can. I do like how York's just going like, I'm a Vegapunk too, to try and mock their efforts. But yeah, I do like how Vegapunk warns the Straw Hats that Kizaru can pass through the lasers due to his abilities, which is probably arguably why he's the Vice Admiral that was chosen to come to Egghead in the first place. So there's that. But I do like how like you just see there's like Usopp and the other Straw Hats just panicking from the whole speed thing. Anyway, I do like how we then cut to like Vega Force 1 just carrying Straw Hat ships, showing how close they are to their destination point. Thinking like right before like things going smoothly in there, and until like Kizaru arrives. So yeah. I do like I mentioned earlier, I do like how you have Luffy and Bonnie eating while Lilith is carrying them on the sunny and all that, just so that they can regain their strength. I do like how she's wearing the helmet and the goggles. So there's that. But realizes that, but of course warns them that that we've got an enemy inside. I'm surprised she hasn't figured out that it would probably be Kizaru, but yeah. But it's interesting that now, depending on which translation you have, either way, it's like Kizaru. Depending on which one you prefer, you might prefer Kizaru saying, "I wish you could have added my friends to the list," but I do think like the one with like York, who's actually a friend, though granted probably should have been an ally instead. I think that works, but I do like how he does the checklist and then like okay, eliminate Vegapunk and all that stuff, and I really like how menacing he looks. So yeah. I do like how the others are panicking, but I do like how Stussy, who seems to have kept an eye on Rob Luchi, is able to prevent him from doing an attack. And apparently there's some controversy on this on the internet. It's like, Rob Luchi, sellout or betrayer, even though I think it's pretty clear that Rob Luchi was never on the Straw Hat side. Yes, they had a temporary alliance when Zephyrin were attacking everyone inside the base, and they're like, okay, if we need to survive, better chance of survival, let's team up. So that was more of like a temporary team up, if you will. But you'd see, as we saw from the last chapter, he was giving information to the world government and the Navy and all that once he got an idea of the situation, and it's like he's still on their side. So I am not surprised that he would make his move, and with Kizaru on the move, yeah, I don't really blame him. It's like I'm realizing that probably Straw Hat will be taken care of by Kizaru while he just kills the rest, even though, yes, he's breaking his promise to Luffy earlier, but he's an assassin. You shouldn't always trust the word of an assassin, even though he might have been honest at the time, but I think he's assessed the situation and changed his priorities to taking out Vegapunk and the rest here. But I do like, of course, how Stacy is able to block his assassination move before it happens. There is Stussy dead? Who knows? I mean, Oda has at least killed off 2 of the Vegapunks. Would he be willing to kill a clone as well? Who knows? He seems to be on a bit of a kill path this arc, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's still alive and just slightly wounded a bit. But I do like Sanji's quick thinking to prevent Kaku from joining the thing. He was in the bubble thing. But I do feel sorry for Kaku because he had no idea. Even Sanji comments on about it. Now, I doubt this will make Kaku betray Lucci, but I think he'll be annoyed later. That's like, you left me out of the dark. But I think the fact that Zoro's getting a rematch against Rob Luchi. I think some are disappointed that you're not going to get a Sanji versus Kaku fight where like one kickmaster versus another kickmaster. Well, granted, Kaku used both, I think, kicks and swords, I recall. See, kicks and swords, I recall. I think he said he had a 4-style swords movement due to like his the way his kicks were trained to be like blades, but yeah. So we're not getting a fight like that. I will admit I do like the fact that we're getting a rematch between Rob Luchi and Zoro, because it might be forgotten, but Rob Luchi did also take out Zoro when Luffy first had his match against him in Water 7. So now this is now Zoro's turn to finally get some payback on an opponent that they did actually defeat him. Makes me wonder if that means Zoro could fight Enel in the future, but who knows? But yeah, but you've got like Zoro versus Rob Luchi, so I do like how Zoro mocks him for being like oh, you're only going to spy to attack us now that you've got some backup with an admiral or something like that. But I do like how Rob Luchi seems to be so confident in like his abilities that he includes himself, and with Kizaru, with both him and Kizaru here, they're all good as dead. But I do like how Zoro just pushes him out of the window. Now, granted, I do think Zoro will bring out his third sword, but at the moment he's going to be probably fighting 2-sword style for a bit. So there's that, and but I do like how he's just telling Rob Luchi not to underestimate them. So, or you don't know them very well, or like, which I think is a bit weird because Rob Luchi should know them well enough by now. But who knows? It's maybe possible that Rob Luchi still thinks he could beat Luffy, but he thinks like with Zoro that he doesn't have to. But yeah, but I do like how Luffy drops off the ship just as Vega drops off the ship, and the Sunny and the Vega Force One, just as Kizaru's looking there, and you've got them just looking at each other, with him going like, "Been a while." And I do like how Luffy, the first thing he does is do a kick against Kizaru, because Kizaru has done lots of kicks against Luffy, and this time Luffy's giving him the payback, and it looks like Kizaru has ended up doing the sort of blocking thing that normally others have to try and do when dealing with his kicks. And I do like how they're sort of like being a bit quippy with each other, with him saying, "You got bad manners as ever, Straw Hat." I do like how Luffy just goes like, "We're 100 times stronger than we were last time," which I think is a reference, of course, to like what Shaki said about Rayleigh being 100 times stronger than all the supernovas that entered the island at the time. And I think Luffy is probably comparing himself to having a similar strength to Rayleigh at this point. So he thinks that he can probably, and I do like his confidence and the smile of taking him. So yeah, the rematch that we've had is finally happening, and it's like very significant one. In many ways, it makes sense. Like this arc, the beginning of the final saga for the first half was the Straw Hats being eliminated by being beaten by Kizaru. With like the beginning of the new saga is going to be the Straw Hats this time defeating Kizaru. If I had to guess, I don't think Luffy's losing, but yeah, but it's a reverse way, and Luffy can finally get a bit of payback on one of the Marines that's given him such a tough time, Kizaru, who caused the separation of his crew and was like the biggest. And before Aquino killed Ace, Kizaru was the one that caused the most problems for Luffy and Marineford, always trying to blast him when he is trying to get Ace and pushing him back, partly because I think Kizaru was still trying to finish off what he promised the world nobles he'd do. But yeah, so yeah. So besides this long-awaited rematch, we also got a bit of a surprise, but not really rematch with Zoro versus Rob Luchi. So, granted, it does make me wonder who would see with 9 vice admirals, who would then fight one of the other vice admirals. Which, if I had to guess, that probably means that Bonnie is going to fight one of the vice admirals. I did mention how Robin might fight Doll, but very might possibly be Bonnie might fight Doll. I don't know. It really depends. I know Oda likes to do woman versus woman when he can, because I don't think he likes having male characters hit female characters, but who knows? But yeah. But yeah, this is a very good cliffhanger, which I think happened just as I think the live action One Piece was coming out, which was great, but it was like, dang it. But yeah, as Oda went to like let's see, California to see the live action premiere screening there. But yeah, so that was a treat for fans who probably got to see him there. But yeah, overall, it was a good chapter. We had Kizaru, a brief fight with Kizaru and Sentomaru with like the emotions of the flashback to give like character depth to Kizaru, who were like not wanting to fight his friends, but would do so. And also, let's see the extent of Sentomaru's loyalty and even friendship with Kizaru that he had. Let's see, and sort of like a sort of similar apprentice and mentorship with like Garp and Aokiji, as we saw from the previous things. We got to see a little bit of the sea beasts and the Paphistas taking out the Marines a bit before, of course, the Paphistas are turned on the sea beasts. So we got a bit of casualties there. And of course, we got let's see, 2 major matchups, which hopefully won't be the only ones, but who knows? It really depends on how Oda wants to pace this arc. We've now got Zoro versus Rob Luchi and Luffy versus Kizaru. I'm hoping that Sanji will get something. I mean, because since the one against S-Shark was done off screen, I mean, we got like a really cool moment of him withstanding one of S-Shark's fists, but I'm hoping he does get some fight. But yeah, but it's a very good hype chapter, and the fighting has just pretty much, this chapter confirms that the fighting has begun. Granted, the Straw Hats and Vegapunk have lost much of their forces, so we have to wait and see what they do when the Marines, we'll see what the Paphistas march towards them. But yeah, but overall, very good chapter. I'd give it like a 9 to 10 out of 10. Very good chapter. Really nothing really too much to complain about, except maybe like depending on how you feel about certain translations by Viz and the other translators. But yeah. So for those who end up watching this, I hope you enjoyed what I had to say. Thank you for joining me. I am Blue Star Saber, signing off. Goodbye.